Hi everyone, it's Will. Now, some of you have probably heard of the concept of the valley of despair. Maybe you've read the book Think and Grow Rich and you've heard of the concept of stopping 3 feet from gold, which is where you worked hard towards something, you don't see the results fast enough, you become discouraged, and then you quit right before you experience the breakthrough that you were looking for. Now, if you're in your 20s, you might have experienced this in the past, or maybe you're going through this right now. You may feel behind in your career, you're uncertain about your future, or frustrated that your effort is not yet translating into visible success. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how consistency helps you climb out of that quote unquote valley of despair, push through that discouragement, and eventually see rewards of your hard work. Now, before we discuss more, quick note: if you're looking for a supportive community around career, relationships, and personal and professional growth, you can check out the Accountability Mentor School community in the description below, as well as the link in my bio. And as someone who is 24 and has gone through this program, it has had a big impact on me and ultimately led to me working with the organization and the community. So let's get back into it. So the Valley of Despair is a concept that I first discovered in the Emotional Cycle of Change graph, which was created by Kelley and Daryl. And it helps you give a better understanding of human behavior and how we respond to new goals we wish to pursue. And there are 5 stages. So the first idea is uninformed optimism. Now, if you've ever been at a place where you get excited by an idea, you're pumped up where you say, I'm going to run that marathon, or I'm going to start that business, or I'm going to eat healthier, whatever the goal might be. And I'm only speaking from my own experience here because I don't want to speak for all of you, but you might relate to this. At the beginning, I always have this heightened sense of what the feeling would be like when I accomplish it. And this is the stage where I'm almost disregarding all of the details of the effort that is going to go into working towards that goal. And I'm really just excited by the idea of it. But then you start to do a little bit of the work. And then the thought comes to your mind, this might be a little bit more difficult than I thought. And you start to see some of the effort that is required come to the forefront of your mind. You still have some trust, but things start to feel more real now. And the initial excitement, it's still there, but you might be more at a place where you're proceeding with caution, you're more aware of the effort that is needed, and you might not have all of that same level of excitement that you did when you first thought of the idea. So that is the informed pessimism stage. So you continue to put in the work, but then you might not see those external results, and weeks go by, months go by, still no results. And then what starts to creep in your mind is you start thinking, is this really worth it? So starting a business is an easy parallel to this because I've experienced this in my own life. We all have that initial excitement of the idea and what it could turn into. Then we start to see the effort required. And as time goes on, we begin to see, wait, I put in a ton of effort, yet there's nothing that is happening. This must not work. And because of that, I must be doing something wrong, so I might as well give up altogether. But as I'm coming to learn, this is the exact stage that defines the people that are successful from the people who aren't. And your 20s are such an important test for this too, because you are coming out of school, you might have no experience, and you're at a place where you're really just trying to build momentum. And being able to just have the awareness that this cycle is going to come up allows you to not deny the feelings and let them take over you, but to recognize them and push through anyway. So let's discuss a little bit more about the graph, because many people, they go through stages 1, stages 2, then they hit 3, and then they turn back, and then they start something else, and then they go through stages 1, stages 2, stages 3, they get discouraged, and then they find something else and do it, rinse and repeat. And they never push through to stages 4 and stages 5. And this is something that I'm not perfect with as well, because there have been times where I've wanted to quit too. But I think an important thing that everyone in their 20s and beyond should recognize is that the absence of external results doesn't mean that results aren't coming. Because for the longest time, I used to think it was effort, results, effort, results, effort, results, effort, results. But what I'm starting to see, especially with whatever you're doing and whatever might take a while on a longer term horizon, a lot of it is effort, 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 and then results. More effort, and then results. It's not, okay, I work on this for a day, then I see the results. Things take time. So being able to live in that discomfort of, knowing that you have to put a lot of that work in, and recognizing, as the author James Clear of Atomic Habits says, that effort isn't being wasted, it's being stored, I think is really, really helpful. And if you can stay in the fight long enough, you'll start to push through to stage 4. And this is where you get to informed optimism. You begin to move closer to that success. You've been through the trial and the error process, and you've learned so much about what doesn't work, but you treated it as a learning experience, and you finally got to a place where you started to see that first little success, and then another little success, and another success, and then you might take 2 steps back, and then 3 steps forward, and then 1 step back, and then 2 steps forward. So you start to see little glimpses of that success because you stuck with it long enough. And then if you keep going, you will reach stage 5, which is success and fulfillment. And if I'm being completely honest, with my business, I'm not at stage 5 yet. I'm not. But I'm walking this path with you, and I think it's easy and it's a good reminder for me to be able to have this conversation, because I can go back and watch myself speak about this so that when times get tough, I can say, oh, Will was discussing this. I was discussing this, not to talk about myself in the third person, but I was discussing this. Rewatch this when you're, feeling discouraged. But being able to have access to this graph, it allows me to trust the process and recognize that that success and fulfillment is coming if I stay in it long enough. So if you're in your 20s, and even if you're older, this has been something that's been instrumental for me and hopefully can be for you too. There are so many different things that you can accomplish in your life, but being reminded of the phases can help you stay grounded and neutral when times do feel difficult. And a little anecdote, I know it's a little silly, but it can help illustrate this further. Some of you watching this might play golf. Maybe you've caddied in the past, and I still caddy on weekends as well, but there are sometimes going to be those slow days where no golfers seem to be showing up. And the caddies are waiting around in the shack for a while. And as the hours pass, people start to get impatient. So 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. roll around. The caddies have been waiting for 4 or 5 hours. They're putting in the time, but it hasn't turned into getting a loop and working that day. But what you'll notice is that the later that it gets, the more people start complaining and they end up leaving. And the people that drop out, there's less that hang around, but the people that end up leaving, all of those hours that they spent are now wasted. But if you're the person that's able to recognize that even though you haven't gotten out yet, and you keep putting in the hours, that doesn't mean that you won't. Because you might stay patient and you stick it out until 12, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and then your boss comes down and says, I have 2 golfers that are ready to play and they need a caddy. And you're the only one left in the shack because everyone else left before you. And because you stuck around, you're rewarded for it. So it's a simple example. It's a silly example, but it's a simple example of the importance of patience that I've seen in my own life. And again, I am not perfect at this, but it's such an important idea that I think we need to consider, especially as we enter the workforce and embark on all these different experiences and goals that we have in our life. So if you find yourself in that, valley of despair, metaphorically, just know that you can climb out of it and get to the other side where you reach that informed optimism and success and fulfillment. So this video, again, is just as much of a reminder to me as it can be for you, and I definitely will have to revisit watching this in the future, but I'm excited for us to embark on this journey together. And again, if you want to learn more about the model created by Kelley and Connor, I'm going to include more information that in the description. Now, if you're a young adult looking to land that job, build strong relationships, improve your well-being, and be part of a supportive community navigating the uncertainties of your 20s, check out the Accountability Mentor School community in the description below, and the link to join is in my YouTube bio. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, but it's a space to learn, to grow, and connect with others on a similar journey. And I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video today, and I will speak to you next week. Take care.